Legendary events have seen a massive increase in difficulty recently, but also a wonderfully shiny gold prize at the end of them with a brand new mythic legendary character available for you. The only problem, you need to invest heavily into the event, and today we'll take a look at just how heavily you need to invest. I'm going to start by being very upfront here and say that this is going to be a mind-blowing video for a lot of you. The reason is that the depth of the squad that I believe is needed to reach mythic legendary characters in every legendary event is quite unreal, especially since the events were made more difficult recently. You will look at where you are with your current roster and maybe feel a little downhearted, but that's why I want to put this video out, because I believe that every time you play the game, you should have an eye on legendary events and the growth of your team towards them. That doesn't mean the characters needed for legendary events should be a much higher priority than your short-term goals. They should just always be in the back of your mind as you pick a character to level over another character. So keep coming back to this video every now and again to remind yourselves of who the most powerful characters are in legendary events. If you want to check out how to unlock a specific character, then I do a series called Plan Now and get whichever character has just been released for free. And that goes deep into the teams and characters needed for each event. And it's been incredibly successful in helping new players to work towards opening characters. In this video though, we're going to look at a study done on the 4 legendary events that are currently running, and I'm going to pick characters that I feel are the best in class across the 4 events. Those events are the Pattermine event, which will run for the last time on October 19th, and then the Dante, Trajan and Lucius events. We'll begin though by looking into what's needed to unlock a character at mythic level. One note, I'm going to ignore the missions that you can do to get a little bit of extra points during the legendary events and just focus on the stages themselves. That's because the missions don't really move the needle from what I'm about to show you. And so if we take a look at the upcoming Pattermine event specifically, but understand that all events work similarly, then to unlock a champion, you need to clear everything up to stage 8 and then a few stage 9 missions, and that's across Alpha, Beta and Gamma. Now obviously you can do a bit less in some missions and more in others. So for example, you could go to stage 6 in one battle, but then stage 12 in another battle to make up the difference. But this is a pretty good indicator of where you need to be. In terms of chests though, it's everything up to and including chest 16. To get his legendary 4 unlock, then you need to complete up to stage 10 and a couple of missions from stage 11. In terms of chests, this is chest 21 you need to reach. For his legendary 5 unlock, it's around halfway through stage 12 and chest 28. And to ascend to winged, it's halfway through stage 13 and chest 36. And then there's a bit of a jump to his mythic unlock. You actually need more than half of stage 16 completed, which is chest 46. And the difficulty is that in stage 16, you're actually fighting against mythic level enemies that are up to Adamantine 2 rank. And that's quite a jump from the stage 13 enemies that you were fighting previously to get them to winged. And just a little note at the end here, there is actually a currently impossible goal to bring the characters to Mythic 2-star, where you need to complete every battle in all stages. And I say that this is impossible because I've tried it with fully maxed out Mythic Adamantine 1 characters, and because you're fighting against maxed Adamantine 3 characters, you just die too easily. This of course will become much more realistic when Adamantine 2 and 3 are added in the future, but that's exactly why I'm showing you this video now, so that you can be prepared for whenever they get added. And so in this video, we're going to look at focusing on trying to get to stage 16. And to fight stage 16 with mythic D3 characters, it's actually really difficult to get through that last stage. Your healers die too easy, and it's really tricky to protect them. I did find that it's possible in stage 16 battles to get through them if you have Adamantine 1 characters with a couple of mythic stars on them and a healer that you work very hard to protect. But I will say it's far from easy. So what does this all tell us? Well, basically it tells us exactly what we've been thinking all along. To unlock legendary event characters at mythic level, you're going to need a very wide and mature team. You're going to need healers and tanks leveled, along with legendary event spawning specialists like Tangida or Snotflogger, and then you're going to need to bring some of them up to the max level that we can get them to. But more importantly, your Diamond 1 characters or less are a waste of time. They're never going to live. And so you need to start using the leveling improvements we received in the Mythic patch and push all those characters you have at D1 up to D3, with a few choice characters going beyond that. And I know some of you are going to complain that this is too hard, but for me, my first Mythic legendary character is going to be such an achievement. So this doesn't scare me or frustrate me, it just excites me to be working towards that goal. So looking at the 4 events, who are the best bang for buck characters to bring to Diamond 3? I went through all of the events and pulled together teams that would push through the latter stages of events. And you'll notice that this is not necessarily the most efficient token usage in a single event, but instead it's the champions which I feel are best suited to legendary events overall and have good crossovers with other modes like guild raids. And so that's why you'll see some of the champions missed out from here that I do show in my Plan Now videos. They might be useful for one event or one battle, but not 3 out of the 4 current running events. And so for each event, the number of times these champions appears looks like this. And of course, this is an insane amount of champions that we need to cover. But for me, I've been narrowing down this list to anyone that appears 4 or more times in these legendary events and then starting to level them up. Honestly, I think that this is a top-notch set of all-round champions that will be useful in a bunch of different modes, and I don't think that bringing any of them up to Diamond 3 is a waste of time. You might be curious about ignoring the Pattermine event because it finishes very soon. Then, this is what the 3 events look like. It's obviously a smaller list, but again, it's absolutely cracking set of champions. I don't think you can really point to any of them and suggest they aren't pretty damn tasty. You have Ragnar, Neurothrope, and Carrion, 3 essential guild raid champions, and most of the others can be found in my top 10 characters for each faction that I released a while ago. So in terms of where I am currently, I have all the characters I mentioned going into the Pattermine event up to Diamond 3, except these ones. It's Angrax, Aryak, Dante, Gibbascraps, Harkin and Sizes, Makotep, Matanio, Titus, Toth and Trajan. Quite a big list for sure. Rask is almost there, just in case you pick him out and see that he's not quite Diamond 3, but I think I'll finish him in the next couple of days. And Revas is already Wing 2 with Adamantine 1, and his Relic is at to level 10, so he's definitely going to be ready for the event. But once I get all these characters to Diamond 3 level, and ideally at Mythic, then I'm going to start the long journey to bringing them up to max level, starting with the groups that I talked about in my previous video. Revas and Aleph Null, Malidus and Rotbone, Titus and Isabella, although I'm really starting to love the utility of Nicodemus here, Tyrant Garden and Sizes, and Snotflogga and Makotep. And that's going to give me a core group of 10 characters that are really going to be worthy of legendary events. So this is one plan for legendary events, but how are you planning to reach mythic level characters? Are there characters that you think I'm ignoring from the list that works well over the next 4 events? Maybe Lucius, who you don't even need to bother leveling, but you can put his passive up very high and let him kill enemies from within. Or Marshall Dreyer looks really like a sustaining godlike character who I can't wait to try in legendary events. Let me know what you think in the comments below.